Was Operation Health a complete failure, or has it been successful in any way, shape or form? How's it going, guys? My name is Griefdrums, and today we're going to be analysing whether the last 3 months was a complete waste of time or not. So as you will no doubt be aware, over the last 3 months we have had no new maps, no new DLC operators, and not a whole lot of anything really. But a lot of people are kicking off about how Operation Health is a failure, how it hasn't done anything, and it's pretty much just turned into a meme. When it was first announced, a lot of people, including myself, thought, you know what, this is a really good idea. Slowing down, taking the time to actually make sure that the foundations of the game work, before we drop any new things on it, because as we know, with every patch introduced we get loads of fixes, but we also get loads of new bugs as well, and it can be really frustrating at times. So sort of taking a step back and making sure that the game is working before we release any more DLCs is a really good idea, and it was something I was really pleased with. Unfortunately, as time has gone on, Operation Health has memed the hell out of itself. A lot of people have encountered a lot of issues, hit registration being the biggest one. There's loads of people playing with a really high ping, which makes it almost impossible to kill some of them. Sort of teleporting around the map everywhere, it drives me insane. Coupled with things like the Valkyrie bank glitch with her camera where she can tag everyone on the map, it's been a pretty frustrating time. In the first patch that we saw, patch 2.2.1 I believe it was, we saw the introduction of the one-step matchmaking that the devs have been harping on about, as well as the ability to move around on the menu screens while the game is loading. This in itself was fairly successful. It was something I was pleased to see introduced, and it did see a reduction in matchmaking times. The fact that this was then coupled with the ability to adjust and amend your character while you're waiting in the menu screen did seem a little bit odd though, I've got to be honest. The amount of times I've gone to try and buy a new operator and I can't kit them out because the matchmaking has been sped up, it sort of counteracts the point of having it. Now, I don't want to be negative at all. I really do like this feature, and being able to change little things, like if you don't have a reflex on a specific operator, being able to quickly go in and change that in between rounds is really handy. But very, very often, I will just get caught out by a game starting and I haven't finished kitting out that operator and therefore can't use them for the round because I haven't bought, you know, the grips and stuff like that, and it can be pretty frustrating at times. We did also see a hitbox rework, which I'm going to be completely honest, thought was really, really good. Operators like Blitz that haven't been a viable choice for the longest time are now usable again. Yes, you will get called all sorts of names for using them, you're hiding behind a shield, you're not a very good player and all that kind of crap, but the reality is, the operators that you couldn't use, you now can. The ear defenders on the GSG-9 no longer count as the hitbox, and this was a really positive step in the right direction. For the longest time, hitboxes have been awful. Has it improved Ash in any way, shape or form? No, she didn't really change. This was down to the fact that originally the things that were included in the hitbox were things like certain pouches, as I said, the ear defenders on the GSG-9, and it was really frustrating. Ash never really had this issue because she was wearing a baseball cap that was fitted quite tightly to her head, which is pretty small anyway. So we are still seeing people having major issues fighting against Ash, especially with how fast she appears to be. I don't really have too much of an issue going up against her. Every now and then there is something a bit odd happens where she sort of just appears from around a corner and you think there is no way you can move that fast. And even though she did move fast, you think, my bullets definitely landed on her. You see the blood coming out and everything. But whether that's a hit registration issue or not, or whether it's something to do with her hitbox, I really don't know. It can be frustrating, but I do think the hitbox changes that we did see were a really positive step in the right direction. We also saw some changes to spawn kill locations. We saw the one on Chalet where they increased the rocks. We saw Canal adjusted, initially with a blanket metal frame across the window in which you couldn't use the window in the control room. But interestingly enough, this saw quite a shift in the community of people kicking off saying, well, hang on a minute, now we can't control the windows on the back of the server at all. So the devs listened to that and very quickly changed it by putting some concrete blocks in the way. The best thing about all of this was the clarity between the community and the devs. The devs implemented it, the community said, we don't like that, the devs adjusted it. That is what we want to see as a community for Rainbow Six. And I think that's where the biggest fall down has been for Operation Health. Time upon time, things have changed or things have been amended, and we haven't really had any reasoning behind it. Or on the other side of the coin, things haven't changed, and the community are saying, well, why the hell has this not been done yet? And there just has been no communication really from the devs. I think this has been the biggest frustration, I really do. A perfect example of this would be patch 2.2.2. I personally expected to see a lot of changes implemented. I thought we were going to be getting the new servers. I thought the hit reg was going to be taken a look at because it's the last big patch of op health. When the patch notes were first released, I actually did a video on it about 5 or 6 times, getting really angry about it, saying, where the hell is everything? Yes, we've got the dedicated servers for the voice. Yes, we've got dedicated servers for the terrorist hunt and for custom matches. But where the hell are the awesome new servers for the multiplayer mode? Even when they do implement these new changes for the multiplayer, they're going to be putting it up to 60 ticks. Why not go with something like CSGO and invest like more money and put 120 ticks in? In a game that is so reliant on such a feature, it just seems odd to me that we've gone from 30 to 50 to potentially 60 in the next few days. So when the patch was released, I was pretty frustrated that it was fairly lackluster. There wasn't a massive amount in it. And it took me a couple of days to really sort of think about it and think, well, the reason we've not seen any of this is because we're going to be getting it in patch 3. When we receive the new operators and the new season starts, that's probably when we're going to start seeing more changes, because Operation Health is still ongoing at the minute. So the clarity of the rollout of patches has been the biggest bugbear for me in this entire thing. When Op Health was first announced, we were given this roadmap of what exactly was going to be going on, and as you can see, there are 3 clear pillars as to what they were going to be looking at. With number 1 being the technological improvements, it sort of gave the impression that we were going to see the one-step matchmaking, the 100% server-based features, and the faster servers in the first go. Of course, as it turned out, this wasn't the case at all. If you look at this different graphic, it does show that patch 2.1 was actually only going to contain the one-step matchmaking and a bit of a sprint on some of the bugs that were in-game. And then 2.2 was going to contain alpha packs and bug sprints number 2. At the top, however, on the back end, it shows that the 100% client server, the PvE chat and party system, and the upgrading to the servers was going to be going on in the background the whole time. It was never going to be properly released under one of these patches. Because of this, there was some confusion amongst people. If you go on the Rainbow Six forums or on Reddit, you will see so many people kicking off, where are the servers and all that kind of stuff. And they are coming. But the lack of clarity from the devs has caused a real issue. A perfect example of this is in the most recent patch 2.2.2, the patch notes actually contained very little information about what was coming now and more about what is coming in the future. At the bottom of the patch, it said about the features deploying after 2.2.2 and during Season 3. This consisted of stuff like the upgrading of servers, peer-to-peer removal, and so on. The only real positive thing to come from this patch was the vaulting animation, which, I'll be honest, hasn't really changed a massive amount. I still see people jumping in and shooting people while facing forward, so it's a little bit odd that this is supposed to have been fixed, because it doesn't really look like it has. Every now and then you see someone jumping in facing the right way, but it's still going on in which they're not. I think the main reason for this being such a small patch is the fact that alpha packs were actually deployed in between 2.1 and 2.2. As you'll remember from that other image, they were supposed to be deployed during 2.2, and the fact that we got to see them a little bit earlier means that there wasn't as much to push out. The new gradual deployment process hasn't really seen the light of day. We're supposed to see more things on the TTS, then PC, and then finally on console. This was supposed to improve the efficiency of quality control and make sure that if they could roll something back, they did. Weirdly though, we're not really seeing this implemented. All in all, I don't think that Operation Health has been a complete success or a complete failure. It's sort of somewhere in the middle, and it's not been brilliant, it's not been great as a customer of Ubisoft or a player of the game. But at the same time, you've got to be willing to be patient for stuff like this to be fixed. It's not an overnight fix. Should the game have been released with this buggy? Probably not. They should have held off and made sure that the ranked wasn't in beta before they pushed it out. But that's not the way bigger companies work anymore. Since games like DayZ started releasing alphas, the whole gaming world has sort of shifted in that way. Look at PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. That is still in early development. It's still nowhere near polished. And yet, thousands of people are playing it. If us as consumers are willing to part with money before a game is finished, the companies are going to continue to push games out in this way and use us as testers. Should this be the case 2 years down the line with Rainbow? It shouldn't, no, but that's unfortunately the way it is, so we need to be patient. I do totally understand people's frustrations at this time, but the biggest key from all of this is that Operation Health isn't actually finished yet. Hopefully in the next few weeks, maybe even month, we're going to start seeing more and more changes implemented. We get the new ops, the new DLC coming very soon on August 29th. And whilst I don't think we're going to see servers straight away, we may see the gradual rollout implemented here. I'd love to know what you guys think though. Do you think Operation Health has been a complete failure? I know a lot of people have even stopped playing the game. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider smashing the hell out of that thumbs up. And if you don't already, make sure to subscribe for all things Rainbow Six. But until next time, stay reckless and relentless.
So save me.